Hello, and welcome to episode 38 of Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and it's good to have you guys here. Another great week, another great episode of Pressing Buttons coming at you. I just realized I got yelled
That was
at.
the intro laugh from last week.
It's the intro every week.
Yeah.
All these episodes are great. They're coming
Every
right
week
at
is
you.
great. Every episode is great.
Yeah, they're coming right at you. You guys, this is all for you. But yeah, I got to come up with a new intro. I was kind of workshopping in my head before we started the episode, but I just couldn't.
That's your workshopped intro.
No.
Oh, okay.
I decided to abandon my workshop intro because I didn't feel it was sufficient enough.
Okay.
I'll work on it though. For the next future episodes, I will work on my intro because I feel it's kind of like it's not great, and I've been told it's not great.
I didn't say anything.
Well, there was a certain game night on Wednesday where it was brought up.
Maybe that. Okay, I do remember that.
Yeah,
Oh,
by two people.
Okay.
I don't see you guys doing the intros. But thanks for joining us on another episode of Pressing Buttons. We have Nick and myself, right at you. And now we have brand synergy. Finally, Nick got his shirt.
If you've been following the channel, or you'll know that literally everyone else has a shirt but me. So I finally got one. So that's a big accomplishment.
Well, that's the kind of podcast we are. We take care of the fans first and then ourselves.
There you go.
Well, I take care of me, then
Oh
the
yeah,
fans.
yeah, that doesn't make sense because you took care of yourself first, then fans, and then
me, fans,
then-
then
yeah.
you. And then
Okay.
it works.
All right.
You're,
It feels great.
it looks great. I
Looks
love
good.
these shirts, man.
Good fit.
Got to do a second running. I know there's been a couple people clamoring for some shirts, but I want to make a good order, so that's why I haven't ordered any. But there will be a new order soon. Maybe some white shirts with the patterns and stuff. We'll see.
Yeah. And I wasn't planning on having the sign
Yeah,
on the
we've-
video, so now it looks completely ridiculous.
We've elevated the signs.
Yeah.
It is a work in progress. The studio. We're still trying to find the best optimal angle. So every week it might just look a little bit different, but better.
Well, I thought a couple weeks ago we found optimal angles.
There's a lot of optimal angles.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find the right one.
Okay.
But it looks great every week.
Yeah.
Every week, new episode, new looks.
Incremental progress.
Yeah.
That's all we can ask for.
All right. Well, that does it for the housekeeping and our dumb bantering. Sorry if you had to hear that. You can skip to 4 minutes in the episode. Or I should say this in the beginning of the bantering. Damn it. Whatever. Let's move on to video game news. To start off the news, we have some big news from CD PROJEKT Red, which is very rare for a publisher to do what they did the past week, which is basically kind of outline all the games that they're working on in the future and their plan for their franchises. We're going to kind of list everything that they announced that they're going to be working on in not in order, but just kind of list everything and then see what it entails. First, we're going to start off with Project Orion, which is basically a full sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. And it's in development at the company's new Boston studios, not to be confused with the studio that they own, the Molasses Flood in Boston. Now, as everybody knows, Cyberpunk 27... I guess I get tongue twisted with saying the whole thing. Cyberpunk 2077 was a very hyped up game, was very hyped up for a couple of years, announced in about 2011, 2012, I believe, and then released last year. Yeah, last year. And it didn't release very well. A lot of people definitely thought that it could have used more time in the studio to work out all the glitches and everything that the game entailed, because it was basically one of the worst launches we've seen for a game in a while. And they got a lot of slack for it. Their stock prices went down and all that. But that was one of their major announcements, basically saying that they are moving forward with the development for a new game in the franchise, which is good because we know that with their prior franchise, The Witcher, they've always been good with that. We just hope that with this new game that they kind of give it the time it needs. They didn't really give a detail since this was just basically just letting everybody know what they're working on in the future. So they didn't really give details on time dates and stuff like that. But hopefully they do learn from their mistakes of Cyberpunk 2077 and they don't fuck it up as much. Are you excited for a sequel to 2077?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think this came up when we were talking around like edge runners and how that's kind of had an impact on the user base of Cyberpunk. But I've been, it had a rocky launch, but I've always been like, I really like the game. I want to see more from the franchise. So, and yeah, I think it kind of wasn't clear that whether they were going to do more of these, given the situation with its launch. So I'm happy that they're doing another one. Hopefully they learn from all of their mistakes, I guess, with launching the first one. And you kind of saw that with The Witcher, right? Where, it took them a couple games to really figure out that specific like genre and what they wanted to do with it. So yeah. And then I actually didn't know, this was the first time I'm hearing of this like Boston studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I had heard that they were trying to acquire more studios or just like make more studios in different places, just so they don't have their main one in where is it that they're
Warsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in Warsaw and somewhere in Poland. So, but yeah, I kind of want to look into that in terms of like who the talent is that they're actually, because I don't think because they acquired this other studio called, what is it,
the Molasses Flood.
Yeah, so I don't think this other one is an acquired studio. I think
no, it's just
they're just trying to build it up. It's just like an extension of their own internal studios. So so I guess we got to see like who ends up being in there, but I have confidence that they'll have like a good solid team there. Yeah, so super excited for more Cyberpunk for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to point to something that you mentioned. There was, like you said, no kind of inclination that they were working on a sequel or another game in the Cyberpunk universe. It just seemed like they had announced the DLC, which is coming out. They have I believe it's called the Phantom Liberty or something like that, which is a DLC. It's coming out in 2023, but that was the only mention of anything to do with the Cyberpunk universe. And even then, with all the problems that the release had, you didn't think that they were kind of that they would another tongue twister. You didn't think that they were going to dive right back into the Cyberpunk universe, even though it's one of those things where, like, I think it's a welcome universe from a lot of people, where you have like Blade Runner, the books, the Cyberpunk books, and there's a lot of Cyberpunk video games out there. But this one, the promise that it showed and all that stuff, it would be a waste to kind of not continue in that universe, even with the lackluster release of the game when it first initially got released. So I am kind of glad that they are sticking with it, but like I said earlier, I do hope they give it more time and they do a proper release. Now for the next one, we're going to talk about Project Polaris, and then this one is the first installment of a new trilogy of Witcher games. This one's developed by CD PROJEKT Red, the one in Poland, and its developers are promising it's going to be a AAA RPG. So this one is kind of, if you played Witcher 1 through 3, the originals, this is the new Witcher. We don't know if it's going to focus on Ciri like they've been kind of talking about, or it might just be a whole other new Witcher person that maybe you can create or something like that. But they're going back to their roots. This one being developed by the main studio is definitely a plus, especially something that they've kind of worked on before and they know like the back of their hand because this is their main franchise. I'm excited for this one. I've been waiting for Witcher. They did say that their plan is to do the release of these mainline games to be 6 years apart. So, well, not 6 years apart, but just to be within 6 years of each other. So just release, I guess,
all three games within 6 years?
Release all 3 games within 6 years, which is very ambitious. We don't know that they haven't shown anything, but we do know that this is something that they've been working on for a bit. And I think it'll be a while before we actually see any product or anything like that. But it is very ambitious to kind of say, hey, we're going to be releasing these 3 mainline Witcher games within 6 years. So I'm excited to see that. But it is kind of a running theme where I feel like they're doing too much. Hopefully it doesn't come back and hit them in the ass. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think they've always done like the too much thing. Like they've always done that generally just like within one game where like the game was just like so ambitious.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of ran into some challenges with that. But now they're kind of going into are they doing too many titles at the same time, and that leads to some challenges with actually being able to execute. I don't think, did they mention Unreal Engine? I think a while ago they mentioned that they're going forward with Unreal Engine as their
main engine. Yeah, when they were doing the Unreal Engine 5 showcase, I believe they came out and they were one of the studios that was on the video saying that they were going to be developing their future games with Unreal Engine 5 instead of the Red Engine.
Yeah. So I think whether that actually happens or not, remains to be seen. But I think they're definitely probably placing a lot of faith on not spending time on engine development, which probably led to them spending a ton of time doing that in between, Witcher games, as well as also trying to build it up for Cyberpunk. So, if all goes to plan, maybe they're able to get a lot of improvement and dev time by leveraging Unreal Engine. So we'll see. That'd be cool though.
Yeah. Once we start hearing more stuff, I guess once they start kind of giving more information on how many developers are actually working on it and which developers are actually working on it, I think it'll kind of be easier to tell. And, with all these rumors like they'd had with the crunch for the Wild Hunt and stuff like that, I feel like we'll get more information as it moves forward, whether they're actually on track. I think they'll be more transparent about it just because they'll want to get on people's good side compared to their other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next project they mentioned was Project Canis Majoris, which is another full-fledged Witcher game. This one's separate from the new Witcher Saga, and it's developed by an external studio, but an external studio that is led by a bunch of ex-Witcher developers. So this one's kind of, I don't know how I feel about this one, just because them mentioning that they're working on a full Witcher Saga of 3 games, that they're now going to do a whole separate Witcher game based in the same universe. I know they did wanted to do something multiplayer, and that's kind of one of their focuses going forward with all their future games, where they want to have access to multiplayer, just like Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to have multiplayer. They kind of want to bring all the games that they are working on now to be able to do some sort of multiplayer, which works out the best for everybody. But this might be too much of a saturation of the market when it comes to Witcher stuff. I do like the franchise and stuff like that, and the synergy that it has with the show and Gwent, the card game and all that stuff, and the anime. I feel like it's a lot to kind of throw this in there. I don't know if too many people will respond well to it, because now they'll be confused, like, oh, this is the main Witcher, this is another Witcher. Too much Witcher stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends on what the game is. I think they could, it's like Final Fantasy has its core kind of, mainline series, and there's a bunch of spin-offs. Same thing with Zelda. So I don't know. I think there's a way that they could do it. It just kind of really depends on the game. But did they mention, is this the AAA quality one, or is this more of could be a smaller scale?
No, they said it is AAA quality, just not handled by the full their studio. It's handled by a different studio with a lot of developers from The Witcher. So.
What could the game be? What could it be if it's not Gwent or one of those types of things? Then
it most likely will have to do. I'm guessing it might be something with a Witcher Academy, where you do Witcher stuff and your friends can do Witcher stuff with you at the same time, and you go out on quests and hunt, which would be cool.
That'd be cool. But, it's basically the Harry Potter game.
Yeah, or Monster Hunter.
That could be cool.
That could be interesting, but especially with these things, when studios that aren't familiar with the type of game, like going back to CD PROJEKT Red working on Cyberpunk 2077, going to a first-person view where they were doing third-person action, that was a big jump for them. So I think that kind of was also probably one of the reasons why it took them a while to get well with Cyberpunk. It could be the same thing with this, where it's something they're not used to if they're doing a multiplayer type thing, where it could hinder the project a little bit. But I'm an optimist, so I always wish the best, and I do hope they kind of make it work.
You are an optimist.
But if it doesn't work, then I'll be there and I'll say too much.
Then you'll just trash them.
Yeah, too much food in the plate.
Too much food in the plate. Yeah.
And then the next one is Project Sirius, which is another Witcher spin-off by the Molasses Flood. And this is the studio that they own in Boston. Nothing to do with any other main studios, just a third-party studio that they acquired. This one is the one I think you were thinking about, which
that's
is
the one I was thinking of.
smaller
Yeah.
scale one. This one could be anything. I mean, they do have Gwent and stuff like that. They could have like a monster game. That's the only thing I can think of when somebody says, "Hey, what kind of game would you make with the Witcher stuff?" I would kind of focus on the monsters of the Witcher universe, and that's why I would lean towards where it's like some sort of monster hunting thing, which would be cool. I like Monster Hunter. But that's the thing too, that like with all these projects set in the Witcher universe, like what else can you do?
I don't know.
You can't do Witcher first person.
I mean, you could. Can't you do that with Witcher 3?
No.
I mean,
Unless you do
that's
like
not
a
the main.
mod.
That's not the main. Yeah, that's not like the main thing. But I think you could probably do it there.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't recommend it. But
No.
I just don't know what they're gonna do. Which I'm happy to be delighted by something that's cool, but I'm just not sure. Like, I don't know if Monster Hunter could work because I think most of the monsters they're not these like giant, kaiju type things. Like the main Witcher game is like a Monster Hunter game already, basically.
Yeah. And there's like three or four big monsters in there.
Yeah, there's like a few, but there's not that many.
Yeah.
It's more like smaller scale stuff usually.
We'll have to see on that.
Yeah.
And then the next one was Project Hadar, which is a brand new IP. It's in conceptual stage and it's being developed by CD PROJEKT Red. Obviously, this one I would say it's the one furthest out, just because it's still in conception, and they kind of got to focus on Cyberpunk. They got to focus on the Witcher franchise. I'm excited for that, just because I think all the worlds that they kind of picked to create are cool. Cyberpunk, really cool. Witcher, really cool. And who knows, maybe if it's like an original IP where it doesn't have to do anything with like something previously built from a book franchise. So I'm excited to see whatever that is. Obviously, no mention of anything on that, except that that's like their next focus after everything, which will be a brand new IP. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's both The Witcher and CD PROJEKT Red are based on some other IP, so I guess it's cool to see them try to do something on their own. I think that it's probably not going to be fantasy or sci-fi, right? Or do you think they?
Well, I think it would be, just for the fact that it is a strength of theirs to adapt these things, the fantasy and sci-fi worlds. I think it might just be literary as well, because it's so expansive. They do so well with all these languages and lores and writing. I think they probably are going to stay in some sort of book world, like find another book to adapt. But like you said, it might not be fantasy or sci-fi. It might just be normal world stuff, normal boring shit. No, I don't. Whatever they make, I think it'll be a good franchise, a good new franchise for them.
Hopefully.
And then, just to keep in mind, with all these announcements, they also said that they kind of want to expand into other markets. They did so well with Edge Runners and Gwent. They definitely want to collaborate more with television as well, with The Witcher on Netflix. So they are looking for their existing franchises and any franchise in the future, to basically spread them out to as many people as they can by offering them on streaming services, by offering them on mobile phones, whether it be a game or something like that, or AR experience or something like that. So I'm excited for that, just because I like the Edge Runner anime. Sorry, you still haven't seen it, but
Still haven't seen it. Still waiting on the TV unit.
Whenever you get there,
one day.
But yeah, the Edge Runner anime is pretty good. The Witcher show is pretty good. The Gwent card game is pretty good. So I'm glad that they see the potential in that, and that they do want to just create more, whether it's television or movies or anything like that. I'm glad that aspect is something that they're kind of pushing forward, because, like you mentioned in the previous episode before, the Edge Runner did boost the game itself a lot. So people jumping back into the game because of the anime. So it's a good synergy to have where a different type of media that you support kind of pushes people to go check out the other media. So,
Yeah. I mean, that's what all these game developers and publishers, that's what they want, and that's what they're trying to build out with like a lot of these like transmedia content strategies. I think the CD Projekt Red's been one of the kind of first movers, or I think people have been trying to do it for a while, but I think they're the first ones to see like a lot of success.
And it's not every world that works too. So I think the worlds that they adapt are like one of the easiest ones to kind of have everywhere.
Then just thinking more broadly around like video game announcements and the trends that we've been seeing, particularly with like a lot of these game showcases, and whether it's been like the conventions or the publishers doing their own, or like the platforms doing their own kind of showcase, where, I think people have been thinking around like all the hype that goes into like a mysterious game announcement, and things get leaked, and that becoming like increasingly more difficult to like actually have a surprise announcement. And I think people just kind of accepting like that's just going to continue to happen. And so I think we talked about this in several episodes back, where it's like, are we going to see like a transition to more of like the MCU Marvel style of like game developers just saying like, hey, here's everything we're working on over multiple years. And that kind of takes away a lot of the hype and shock and awe of seeing like a game, like a game that's already been under development for a few years. So I just thought that was kind of interesting to see like CD Projekt Red being like, here's our strategy. Here's like all the games that we're working on. It's code names, and we're not going to provide a lot of information. So I would expect you're going to see like CD Projekt Red is a publicly traded company, so they kind of have like maybe a little bit different rules of engagement with like how they need to talk about the future of their business. But I wouldn't be surprised if more developers and publishers start doing like this type of approach. So
yeah, and I also think it goes to show you that they kind of want to be seen as a big developer. I mean, I know they them developing their own IPs and stuff like that, and being the publisher, especially with all these other companies being bought out or acquired or merging or whatever, you don't have a lot of those anymore. So especially with like Activision Blizzard and Bethesda going to Microsoft, now you have like CD Projekt Red, big company, working on a lot of franchises, working on a lot of games. They want to be one of those people that people recognize. They want to be one of those studios that people recognize just by saying their name. So I think that helps them. That helps their money. That helps their games.
Helps with recruiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully we get some more information on at least one of these things soon, because we're excited to see whatever CD Projekt Red is working on. So
yeah.
Also, if you want to send us some free stuff.
Yeah, I want one of those chairs.
I want one.
Even though it's like it's hideous, I think I just loved like all the controversy around people getting those chairs and all that. So it's kind of funny.
Or some cool cyberpunk jackets.
Oh, the jacket. Yeah, I just kind of want to buy one of those.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
We need to get in touch with somebody.
Yeah, I have a couple of like, so I think it's like the souvenir jacket, right? It's like the one that I have.
The one
that
the
I got
samurai
from
one,
yeah.
Nice. Right.
I need that. But out of all of those announcements, even though I played like the heck out of The Witcher 3, like I played that like well over 100 hours, I think. So I love that game. I want to see more from it, but I think I'm still more excited about Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah.
Like, because I feel like I like really enjoyed the first game, but I just see so much potential with that. So I really want them to kind of learn from their mistakes and lean in on that one and make it something like ridiculous.
I'm kind of on the other side of that, where I'm more excited for the Witcher stuff, just because. So I wasn't on PC as early as you, and I know the first Witcher game was definitely on PC. I mean, they got released later on.
Witcher 1, I think Witcher 1 might have been PC only because it was like kind of like not a good game. It was their first game.
Yeah.
So, and then The Witcher 2 was kind of this like
I think it was PC and then
blew people
Xbox
away.
as well.
Yeah. They released it on some consoles. I can't remember which ones, but The Witcher 2 was like a technical showpiece when it came out. So it kind of blew people away, and I think made a name for CD Projekt Red as like a studio.
And then that's why the 3 was highly anticipated and it did so well. So I want to experience that with a new franchise, because I only got into The Witcher when I played 3, just because it got so many accolades and prizes and how well it was. And then I played it was a great game. So I want to kind of experience that, even though I do also love the Cyberpunk universe and I do want them to succeed with whatever they do within the future, just because I love that aesthetic. So I'm for both, but I think I'm more excited about the Witcher stuff.
Okay. What I think, there's a lot of rumors and speculation around, is it Geralt or is it Ciri or is it someone else that's going to be like leading the trilogy? So I hope it'd be cool for Ciri.
Yeah, I'd be down for Ciri, especially because it did seem like that way, especially on the third one. But you know, more women in video games, the internet would go ablaze. But whatever, I just want to play a good game.
There you go.
All right, so that does it for our CD Projekt Red stuff. We're gonna move on to some Street Fighter stuff. So as you know, especially with the last couple episodes and us going to Evo, also did not plan this. Yeah,
when I saw you arrive, I was like, "Did you plan that shirt?"
I just put it on. I was like,
because I planned my shirt.
Yeah, I was like, I'm doing a video game podcast. I should wear a nice video game shirt, and I brought one of my Evo shirts. I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna be talking about Street Fighter. So yeah, as you know from a bunch of episodes that we do, and from us going to Evo, big Street Fighter 6 fans. Especially, I got to play it when I was at Evo and watching all the videos. And then we submitted our applications to be considered for the beta. Unfortunately, Capcom did not choose me. They chose Nick.
They chose me.
Yeah. So Nick got the code. He's been giving me some highlights of the game and stuff like that. Which was kind of good though, because I played it in Vegas and you didn't get to play it. So now you get to play it.
Well, you played like 2 matches, right? I played it for like 8 hours.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Send me a code, Capcom, please. But what are your impressions, man? I know you've been saying some good stuff about the game. Let our listeners and viewers know.
Yeah, I think it's one thing was, I guess they didn't send that many codes. So like a lot of the like fighting game community Twitter was just everyone being very upset about not getting a code. And I think I saw people selling their codes on eBay for like hundreds of dollars.
$300, I saw one.
I think that might have been an outlier, but I think like people were definitely selling codes. I did not do that because I just wanted to play the game. So yeah, I guess it's just kind of random. It certainly wasn't because of influencer privilege.
We're not there yet, guys.
Yeah, I don't think we're on Capcom's radar just yet. So just the luck of the draw. It started on Friday. I was able to download it, created a character. There's some wild stuff that you can do with so you basically create an avatar through their tool, and then you just kind of like walk around what they call like the battle hub or something like that. But you're basically like in an arena walking around. There's like shops and things to do while you're there. And while you're in this hub, you actually like sit down at an actual like arcade cabinet and wait for other people to like play against you. You got to create an avatar to actually like walk around in this hub. I just didn't want to spend that much time in the character creator, but people are clearly spending a ton of time in this thing and creating some just absolute abominations of avatars. So if it's there, if you want to spend some time on that, go for it. But because it's the beta, I just wanted to like kind of get through it as quickly as possible and then recreate. I think you can, once there's the full game, I think you can just kind of modify it or recreate it or whatever. So, I hope you can. Otherwise, I'm stuck with this guy forever. But we'll see. But either way, that's a thing that you need to do. And then, I played this game a lot. I actually already played the beta for Street Fighter 6 more than Street Fighter 5.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of funny. Which really just tells you that like I didn't actually play Street Fighter 5 that much. Yeah. However, I've watched
A ton.
hundreds of hours, if not like thousands of hours of Street Fighter V. So I'm definitely much more like a spectator of that game versus a player. Whereas with Street Fighter 6, I hope I can actually just enjoy playing the game. I mean, it's just like super polished. It looks incredible.
Does it feel like a beta?
I mean, other than the limited features. So
Yeah.
there's 3 different modes in the full game. I can't remember. There's like some sort of like adventure.
Yeah, adventure mode.
Adventure mode.
Well,
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
say, you
Or
create
I think
your
it's called World Tour.
Yeah, you create the character and you go around.
Yeah. So I think it's called World Tour or something like that, or an adventure mode. And then there's the Battle Hub, which is where you like play online. And then there's I guess it's like more like an offline. I don't know what it is, but there's like arcade mode, training, all that kind of stuff. It's like grouped into like another section. So,
Gotcha.
So it's a beta in the sense that it's really focused on online because they just want to test their online network.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's super. It has like, I'm a PC gaming snob. It's got all like as many options and features that you would want like in a full blown PC game, which is not something that you typically see in most fighting games because a lot of them are generally like console ports and they just do like a bare bones port. So looks great, plays great.
How many characters are you looking at on the beta right now?
What is it? 6? I've been playing Ken for the most part.
Okay.
Is it 6 or 8? So
I believe it's 8.
It's Guile, Ken, Ryu, Chun-Li, Juri, Jamie, Kimberly,
and
maybe one more.
The other guy, the drunk monk. I forget his name.
That's Jamie, right? Didn't I say Jamie?
Yeah. What's the other guy you hate that throws the?
Oh, Luke. Yeah, Luke. Of course.
Luke.
Okay, yeah. There you go.
There you go. That the guy you hate.
Yeah. So I hate him so much that I just removed him from my memory. So yeah, those are the characters. So it's only a subset of the full launch roster, which I think is going to be 18.
Yeah.
I think it's like 18.
18 to start. Wow.
Yeah.
You've been playing Hobo Ken.
Been playing Hobo Ken, which I think most people are really enjoying him. The thing for me, the reason why I've been able to play so much of it is, which I think will end up being maybe controversial, but they have a modern control scheme. So they have 2 primary control schemes. There's modern, which allows you to do special moves just with like hitting one button. And then there's like classic control scheme, which is like you got to do the full range of inputs to do certain moves. So for me, what I think historically, for me at least, might have been like kind of like a turnoff is just like the complexity of memorizing all these different things and being able to do them in certain situations. So now with this modern mode, it's like great for me because I'm like not, really good at these games and I'm able to like actually be somewhat competitive. But what I think is over time is as I get more comfortable with just like playing the game and knowing what to do in certain situations, I can then like kind of upgrade to the classic control scheme, which I think gives you like more flexibility and more moves and things like that. So I think like I've experienced it. I think that was like absolutely Capcom's intention was the like, hey, let's create a control mode that's simplified in order to get more people into the game and liking it. So I think they've kind of absolutely nailed that with, I know like a lot of like diehard fighting game fans are like, oh, it's cheap and cheating and whatever. And I don't know. I think the way that they've designed it, it'll allow more people to play the game, but there's still that like skill, barrier that like people who are going to be really good at the game are still going to go at the classic control scheme and they'll have advantages with that. So yeah, so I'm all in. So I've been playing it a ton. I put it down. Oh, the other kind of big thing, which was a lot of people were really focused on was like the netcode. I think we've kind of talked about this in a couple of different episodes. So everyone loves the netcode. So that's like a step in the right direction, where I think I've had maybe like one match, maybe two matches that had like not great playability, but I think it was very obviously just the person's internet.
And from what I'm hearing, there's a forfeit feature where like if the connection isn't that well, you can
you can easily like quit out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's a new feature. Yeah, so I think that's good. I think I saw some people talking about how they're playing with people in Japan or Europe or whatever, and it's like totally fine. So that's a huge upgrade.
Well, it seems like, from the previous Street Fighters and stuff like that, I know they've had betas, have they, for like 4 and 5? But this seems to be one where like they put a lot more thought into it in terms of what they're going to offer people and what they're looking to test, which is great because we've always watched esports fighting games and stuff like that in the competitions, but going to Evo and getting more into it, it's something that we want to try and we want to get better at. And that whole discourse of like making it too easy, coming from somebody who played like Dark Souls and Sekiro, and people were like, oh, don't make it easier on people and all that stuff. I think if it draws people in and it gets more people to play the game, I think it's great. It does seem like this is made for that. This is made for people, more newcomers to come in, play the game, see how the moves are and perform them, and then if they want to expand on that, kind of get more technical about it, which is great because that's what I'm seeing. I'm not great at fighting games, but if they make it easy for me to jump in, I'm going to jump in, and then down the road I'll get better at it, hopefully, and watch more videos and get more tips and kind of be better at it. So 2023 Evo, here we come, is what we're saying. We're coming for you, Japan.
You already got the shirt.
Yeah, we're coming for you.
I don't. They'll probably have a playable build in Evo Japan, but I don't think it's going to be like an actual game.
You don't think? Oh, as a for the competition?
Yeah, for the competition. But I'm sure you'll be able to play it there, but not like in the competition. That'll be for Vegas.
Well, for this release being in beta and all, it just kind of gives me hope. I think it will be releasing probably early 2023.
I think it's early next year. Yeah.
Just with everything that you're offered, even though it is limited with only 3 game modes and 8 characters, it does seem like it's more stable than I guess a lot of people would have thought it'd be, and they're having a lot of fun. So,
I think people were nervous because I think a lot of people were very excited about Overwatch 2, and basically like nobody could play the game, and I think people were, not that it has like anything to do with Capcom or whatever, but I think people were just like, oh my god, is this going to be a situation where it's just like completely unplayable?
It had nothing to do with that. People just hate Blizzard more, so they attack them.
But that was yesterday when I was playing it. We'll see. Presumably it'll be more crowded on the weekend. So we'll see if it holds up over the weekend. But so far, like it's awesome. Like, and hopefully you can stick around after this and give it a whirl.
I'll beat
I think I saw some people. So it's not set up to play local like versus mode, but I think I saw something about there's like some sort of loophole where maybe we can try to play against each other, but we'll see. But
we'll try it out after.
Yeah. Cool.
The art style still looks amazing, and it's funny because Need for Speed just released a trailer for Need for Speed Unbound, which is releasing December 2nd, and they're also kind of taking that graffiti art style, which I'm happy about. That was one of the things that drew me to the game, and I think it'll draw a lot of people to the game. How cool it looks and stylish. So
it looks awesome. Like everything looks great. And I remember when we first saw Ryu, and he looked like just had the widest.
Chest.
Yeah, he was. I was just like, that actually didn't inspire confidence. I think it was that and like the logo, right? And we were just like, oh my god, like what?
Such a turnaround.
What is happening? And then even Ryu looks great in the game. Maybe not one of my favorite designs, but it just looks incredible in motion. So
it definitely is one of those. The funniest turnaround, because you and I had such a lukewarm reception to it. It's like Ryu looks too much chess, and the logo is shit. and then compared to that, when they actually announced, like, when they fully showed the Ryu and Chun-Li video, it's like, oh, this looks amazing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the logo looks amazing.
It looks
So
awesome.
definitely good job on you, Capcom, for fixing that and listening to the internet.
Yeah, I mean, it's I need to look at like the performance for my graphics card, but it was like blowing up my graphics card.
Oh, nice.
So, and I don't know if that's like because it's like poorly optimized, or which could be the case, or if it's like genuinely that of like a graphics powerhouse. But like, yeah, it's a pretty game.
All right. Well, yeah, you'll hear a lot more about Street Fighter 6 from us. I'll get a few rounds in, and we can discuss that on next week's episode.
Destroy you, dude.
No, he's not.
I'm gonna destroy you.
I'm much better. We both suck, but I'm much better.
I'm really bad. Yeah. Like I basically like my strategy. My strategy yesterday was it's like pretty easy to find people waiting to play. And well, what's funny is I think a lot of people actually don't want to play. They just want to like lab, so they just want to like
do
test training. They want to do training mode, but that's not available. So the only way to actually do training mode is to basically like queue up for like sit at one of these arcade machines.
Oh, while you wait?
You wait for someone to pair with you. So in that moment you're waiting, you can go to to the training area.
Okay.
But then people just want to do that, but then someone will like match make with them and they get like all mad. So but yeah, basically what I was doing was getting into a match and then very clearly identifying whether someone was like a Street Fighter expert or was like new. And if they were new, I think we would like mutually acknowledge that we're like both not good at this game and play like a lot of matches. But pretty regularly, like I would find someone who's like very good at these games, and they would just absolutely destroy me. Like so, but it was fine.
We still have much to learn, I guess. Then maybe not Evo 2023.
Yeah, I mean, I want to participate.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll get smoked, but
you get the free when you buy the tickets, you get the free participation anyway. So that's pretty good.
Is that right? I don't actually never participated in it. So
yeah. When we got the Evo
we just
tickets,
like, didn't register.
Yeah, we just didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
We were like, no, we still don't know. But yeah. Check us out next week for more Street Fighter 6 impressions. And then next thing, moving on, we want to talk about a movie. Yes, the Super Mario movie. They released a trailer. It's like a 2-minute trailer. They released it. It's made in collaboration with Nintendo and the Illumination Studios, who I believe are the ones that do the Minions movies. So the hype is real. I saw the trailer. It looked pretty cool. It sounded pretty fun. I am also in agreement with the internet that Chris Pratt, Mario, I mean, he just sounds like Chris Pratt, which I guess is okay. I just wanted him to be more animated, but he only said like 6 or 7 words, so I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah.
The one that did steal the show, though, I think Jack Black sounds wonderful as Bowser. So I like the animation. It looks good. Illumination Studios, I think, is a good studio for these type of movies. So I think they'll do a great job. And then knowing Nintendo, I know they're very critical of anybody that's kind of doing anything with their franchises. So I think they will keep a good eye on it, but not too much where like it hinders the movie. So I'm excited for it. I guess I can't wait to hear more Chris Pratt, but that's a future thing. We'll see. But obviously, this movie's I think it's gonna do great regardless, because people are gonna want to go see it anyways. Yeah. Even with Chris Pratt voicing Mario, much like Ben Schwartz voicing Sonic, you kind of get used to it. So we'll see. He doesn't sound Italian now. He might sound Italian later.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the trailer?
Maybe it'll be the same case where I think it's like Jim Carrey as Robotnik is kind of what carries those movies, and I think the same thing's going to happen with the Mario movie. Where I agree. Like I thought Jack Black was good, and did you? There was like some like New York Comic Con. He was like on stage.
The trailer at New York Comic Con.
and then Jack Black was there and did more like lines. I don't know if they're like actual lines or if he was like using the Bowser voice, but like. It's awesome. Like the stuff that he did at Comic-Con was actually like way better than what was even in the trailer. So, I think he's great for that role.
I mean, they also showed a snippet of Luigi, who's being voiced by Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny. They didn't really, you didn't hear him, but
he's a good Luigi. I think every casting choice is like incredible. Maybe with exception for Chris Pratt as Mario.
Well, the thing is that I think everybody is like, Mario should be more Italian.
Yeah.
Which, in hindsight, it's kind of an offensive Italian guy.
To me, yeah, it's a slippery slope for sure. I think to me it would have been fine because I'm a big Chris Pratt fan. Like I basically like everything that he does. I think he's done quite a bit of voice work, but he was mainly from like the Lego Movie. I think he was big there, but I think to me it's just like, of course it would be Chris Pratt doing him because he's just like a box office draw, and I think he's pretty good at it. So I think it could have been totally fine if it was him as Mario. But I remember when they first announced it, there was like a lot of negative reaction, and then they tried to like be like, oh yeah, it's going to be this like new, completely innovative performance that was going to blow everyone. And it's like, okay, like it's Chris Pratt as Mario. So it's like, I felt like they like overcorrected too much and kind of like misrepresented. Although, maybe in the movie something happens where the voice performance is actually, so they could be maybe doing like a bit of a bait and switch. We don't know yet. But
the thing is too, this movie is not for us. I mean, we, like our generation, we grew up with Mario, but this is not who they're making this movie for. They're making this movie for like 6 to 12-year-olds or something. But everybody's going to watch it just because they have that connection with Mario. That's obviously why I'm going to watch it. I think it'll be good. I think it'll like succeed expectations. Hopefully this opens the door for more, I want to see Metroid. I want to see Zelda. I want to see Nintendo kind of give free reign to these studios to kind of do more with a lot of their franchises.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the only other, Illumination's like they're an awesome studio. I thought like the characters all looked awesome. Again, with the exception of I thought Mario looked a little off. Yeah, like
a lot of people were missing his butt. They were. He's
got a no butt.
Bring Mario's butt back.
They clearly haven't played. Is it Mario Sunshine?
Yeah, Mario Sunshine.
The one he's got like a giant butt in one of the games.
I think if he had a giant butt, there would be less criticism. Give the internet what it wants.
Yeah, the internet.
Hey, if they change Sonic's face, Mario's butt's gonna be changed. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're gonna stick to it, but we'll see. But it's just funny that like basically everything's perfect except for the main character. Yeah. So it's
you can definitely, like you said with the Jim Carrey thing. I think it's probably gonna be one of those movies where the focus isn't Mario. It's gonna be everybody else, which would be good because Jack Black's good, Charlie Day's good, and all that stuff. And that little snippet that they showed with like the penguins and Bowser, that was pretty funny, I thought. So.
Yeah, pretty funny. Brought the penguins back after all those penguins got ruthlessly murdered in 1964.
Yeah, I'm all in. So we'll definitely we'll give our impressions when we watch the movie because we're gonna watch it anyways, just like everybody else. All right, so that does it for the news we wanted to talk about this week, and we're gonna move straight into some closing thoughts. Not a lot for me this week. Still playing some Yakuza Kiwami 2. Enjoying the game. Definitely a lot more expansive, easier to control than 1. And it looks way better. So I'm enjoying that. I think I'm going to skip 3 to 6, right?
Yeah, well, there's 0.
And that was I'm going to skip that one too.
I think you got to play 0.
I'm going to play 0?
Yeah, you got to play 0.
All right, so I'll probably play 0 just to kind of get the backstory, but I think I'm going to skip 3 to 6 because it's not going to have the fidelity that the remasters had.
I think that's right. The 2 Kiwamis, 0, and then just go right into 7.
I think I'm going to go to like a dragon is 7, right? Yeah. So I was checking out my PlayStation the other day. I realized I downloaded it before because it was free on PlayStation Plus. So you know me, I love me some PlayStation Plus. It's a good thing I downloaded the games when they're out. So when I finish Kiwami, I think I'm gonna go to Like a Dragon and then go back to Zero, just to kind of go different.
I think he might lose out on some story stuff, but maybe if you want to.
Well, I just didn't want to play like another beat 'em up.
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
Like maybe that's good just to kind of have a different combat system. I don't know. I think it'd be good either way. Like I didn't complete Zero,
Gotcha.
and I still thought Yakuza 7 was incredible. So
we'll see. But yeah, Like a Dragon, I think I know you loved it and you put
it was my game of the year.
Yeah. So
the only thing is you won't have it on Steam Deck though. If you
but I've been meaning to play my PlayStation. So
okay.
Especially God of War coming out. Oof. Gotta get back to playing PlayStation stuff.
Okay.
And then besides that, I've been watching the League of Legends playoffs. Like I told Nick, I made a little trip down to Madison Square Garden yesterday on Friday because they did the play-in stage in Mexico City, which was pretty good. And then they're doing the group stage and then group eliminations in New York City, and they're also doing the quarterfinals. So unfortunately, I was not able to get tickets for us because we wanted to go and experience it live there and kind of see what the vibe was about and maybe get some content for the podcast. Unfortunately, the tickets sold out right away. So I figured maybe go down there yesterday and see if I could get some tickets. And they were like, no, we're sold out. So unfortunately, did not get to experience it live, but I have been watching it on their website, LOL Esports. Check that out if you can, if you like esports stuff. Definitely a lot of fun. There's a lot of good teams. It's very competitive. There's a lot of memes. This is something that I just found out, like getting into the League of Legends esports scene. The teams really go at each other on social media, like on Twitter.
It's trash talking.
It's trash talk, but it's like it's trash talking where it's like, hey, that might be a lot. Like they're calling each other. They basically say they're pieces of shit without saying they're pieces of shit. But it's funny. It's good trash talk. So I'm
that sounds like Charles Barkley and him basically calling everyone a piece of shit all the time.
But in this day and age, with everybody being sensitive,
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. I'm gonna keep watching that. They're doing the group stage this weekend, group stage next weekend, elimination round, and then the quarterfinals in 2 weeks. I will keep trying. I mean, I'm not going to show up every weekend at the Hulu theater and like, hey, can I get some tickets? But I will be trying to see if I can find some tickets somewhere. Maybe somebody's selling them on.
Yeah, is there like a reseller or?
Yeah, I'm gonna find out about that. I definitely need to do more research because I suck at doing research to things. I just show up and hopefully it happens. But yeah, that's all I've been doing. What about you? What you been up to?
Well, we kind of already covered. I think the new hotness was Street Fighter 6 beta.
Street Fighter 6.
So played a lot of that. I think it goes through until sometime on Monday.
Yeah.
So definitely going to play more of that today and tomorrow. I think I mentioned last week that I was going to get back into Soul Hackers 2 after being kind of sidetracked with Disney Dreamlight Valley, which I'm now done with. But then as I was like about to get into Soul Hackers 2, they announced like they're going to do like some sort of big patch that they're going to release in November, it's like a ton of stuff that they're adding to the game, but it's a lot of like quality of life stuff, like being able to sprint around and being able to fast forward battles. And so it's like all the stuff that I like that they added to a lot of like the remasters for the Final Fantasy games.
Skip all the boring stuff. Just fast forward.
Yeah, exactly. So, so they're adding that to Soul Hackers too. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait until that patch is out. So, so getting access to Street Fighter 6 was actually very timely because then I would kind of need something to play.
They knew you needed it more than I did. So.
You got Yakuza, man. You're good for 3 more months.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think it's really just been
And you're
Street
still
Fighter.
waiting. You're still waiting on your TV stand.
Yeah, still haven't watched Edge Runners. The latest estimate is the week of the 17th.
Oh, another week.
So
Damn it. But I
Yeah.
feel you, man. I feel you. You have to be prime optimal sitting position and viewing position before you can sit down and enjoy something like this. So I feel you. It just sucks.
yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are all my updates.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
well.
pretty light week.
Yeah, like week for both of us. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm watching like Game of Thrones. Not Game of Thrones. House of the Dragon and Rings of Power. But I want to wait till those are done before I give my little takes on here. But yeah, it's a pretty light week.
Should I watch those?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't like. I shouldn't say I don't like it, but I never really got into Lord of the Rings. But I did watch Game of Thrones. Yeah.
I think in the same way where I like House of the Dragon more, you'll like House of the Dragon more. But Lord of the Rings is good as well.
Okay.
And you can see how much Amazon put in.
How much money was spent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be interesting to me just to
Yeah.
see. Is it the most expensive?
It's the
show
most
ever?
expensive show.
Okay,
ever,
like on
yeah.
a per episode
Yeah.
basis or whatever.
Yeah, but it's worth it. I think it's good. Nothing blowing anybody out of the water, but if you're a big Lord of the Rings fan, I think it's great. But it's good fantasy to have around.
Can you watch it like standalone? Like I'm like familiar with Lord of the Rings, but am I able to like watch it without really knowing too much about? Okay.
Yeah, because I know nothing about Lord of the Rings besides the movies that I've seen,
Yeah.
and I think I read one of the books halfway, and I was like, I don't want to read this anymore.
I think I read The Hobbit. I think I like.
Yeah,
Don't-
great.
Don't people need to read that in school or something? I can't remember.
No, I think nerds do, but
Did I have to read The Hobbit?
which we
for
are. We're
school?
nerds.
Yeah.
I think Tolkien, amazing guy, built his own language and did his own language and all that stuff and all the history, but yeah, too much for me,
It's a
guy.
lot.
Yeah, I'll watch the video. I'll watch the movies and the TV shows for me. But yeah, that does it for episode 38 of Pressing Buttons. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.